Hello everyone, my name is Kalahans and welcome to a Gekishin Squadra video where in I explain in my opinion what is the best lane partners when you are playing Cooler, my main. So basically, I need to explain to my viewers on how I play Cooler first before I explain this list and how it works. So without further ado, here is the explanation video. So let's start by explaining on how I play Cooler. So Cooler has three skills. His skill 1 is his laser, his skill 2 is his shockwave, skill 3 is his dash. Now, you guys, to those who don't know, Cooler has a passive called Imperial Retaliation, where if an enemy hits you during your skill cast, for example, skill 1, you see that aura around Cooler? That means his ability, all of his abilities, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and even his ultimate are enhanced with that passive. So for example, skill 2 only has one shockwave without retaliation. But with retaliation, there's three shockwaves. And as you can see, I max out retaliation first. I max out skill 2 first. That's how I maximize the use of my retaliation. Why is that? Because especially during the times where it's a big team fight, I need to make sure to save my allies, but to save my own HP as well. So I use skill 1 for my own to trigger the passive, the Imperial Retaliation, and then skill 2 usually to play around the enemy heroes. Now, what's the dash? Why do I level dash after skill 2? Why do I level skill 3 after skill 2? Well, mainly because this season, it's mostly energy damage heroes that is the most used heroes in rank. So, with dash, it is very important to get the dash at a higher level in early game and mid game, because what's important right now is maneuvering around the attacks of the enemies in season, especially in season 4 of Squadra, where we have God Goku shooting, Kefla, Bardock, God Vegeta, all of them. That's the most important part. And then how about the skill 1? Why don't I upgrade skill 1? And let me show you at level at skill 1 at level 3 provides a bigger laser. Basically uh, bigger radius for the laser attack. So to me, the secondary effect of skill 1, which is the continuous damage, so retaliation, then I skill 1 this Vegeta. As you can see, continuous damage is the effect that I give him when I use skill 1 on him with retaliation. In my opinion, that's not really that good. It's good when you want to finish off an opponent, for sure. It's good to catch a opponent running away while they're low health, and you and your ally cannot pursue them. But however, for example, skill 2, it gives them anti-dash and movement slow down. That is to me much more important than continuous damage when using Cooler, because again, Cooler utilizes invincibility frames during his skills. That's why I use skill 2 first. I max out skill 2 first. And then skill 3, a regular skill 3 is just a dash that you can dash through your opponent. But if you have retaliation, you grab them. Oops, let me retrigger that. You grab them, you slam them, and then movement slowdown is applied to the enemies in this crater, in this area right here. And to me, restricting movement from enemies is how I play Cooler, because I play him such a brawl tank that the more they're trapped in my circle in skill 2, the easier it is to secure kills and objectives with this character. Let me give you another example. So Supernova is very much a Supernova is very much Cooler's best ability. Now, you would why do you ask? Is that his best ability? Because at retaliation, not only is it a giant ball, but it does pull enemies towards the center. And with the recent buff to his Supernova, his supernova explosive damage is now bigger, and to me, that is his best. That is his best ability, especially when securing bosses. And while you're securing the boss, you can essentially just skill to your opponent in the middle and uh, restrain them from vanishing away or using any movement to cancel out their escape in the supernova. That's how I usually play Cooler, especially during the bosses. The bosses are very important to secure in this game still after 4 seasons. And as well as Cooler is just really a really fun tank to play because not only does he have big stats and encourages you to play a little aggressive, but his abilities are literally skill management in terms of when do you want to use your ability. Because I could just throw out a regular supernova during mid team fight, but that won't pull enemies to the center. It will just do basically damage, and to me, while that is a good alternative for when you're in a mid team fight and you can and you're rushing to think of what to do. Yes, the supernova, depending on the helper, is very much a very very powerful ability for crew. Now, without further ado, let us get on with the list. Okay, so after seeing my explanation video on how I play Cooler and how I basically utilize his kit for Gekishin Squadra fights, let me explain the tiers. So we have the bottom tier, which is the other tanks, which is, of course, we don't need to really talk about that because you never lane. There is no game mode in Gekishin Squadra right now that allows you to lane with other tanks. So the tanks here should be deleted. Let's just explain what it means, what the other tiers mean. Now, the no tier. Now, it's not. This does mean the no tier means that I don't want to lane with these characters. Not that I can't. It's just that some of the characters' abilities or how they work in general are not in line on how I play Cooler. For example, the Bura. The Bura is a DPS that needs to hang back a little bit just so someone can he can trigger his passive and he can use the stone spit on his specific enemy. That requires Cooler to take most of the damage in the team fight, which is not really applicable for, especially when going solo queue with randoms as your allies. I can't always be synergized with the Dabura to say that, okay, you need to hang back, I can tank for a little bit, then you can petrify an enemy. It's not always that. The process is always not smooth, and I prefer to just I prefer to just not lane with Dabura when I see them and my allies. Next is Boo, Gotenks, and Ultimate Gohan. Now these three have specific similar reason on why I put them in low, because their abilities aren't exactly helping me either sustain or secure an objective or an enemy. Gotenks specifically, his skill 1 is very much avoidable if I don't have my skill 2. If I don't have my skill 2 up, enemies can just vanish away from his skill 1, and I prefer to not lane with Gotenks when that commonly occurs. Next is Boo. We don't really do damage as we are not aiming to do damage as Cooler. So with Boo, I prefer to have a lane partner that has more firepower than Boo, who can definitely sustain and debuff our enemies, but is not really preferable to my playstyle. Similar to Ultimate Gohan, his skill 2 is a knockback skill, skill 3 is a flee skill. I prefer playing Cooler with in close combat, so I don't want my enemies to get displaced a lot. I just need to restrain my enemies with Cooler, and that goes against Ultimate Gohan's common playstyle, if that makes sense. Next we have I Can Work With You. Now, really, this tier is more emphasizing what I can do as Cooler is just utilize my iframes, utilize my skills, secure a kill on an enemy on an objective pretty well with all these characters. Considering that Cooler right now is in a very good spot as tank. He's not the best tank, but he's not the worst tank. He can work with everyone here in this tier. However, I believe that when considering, for example, Piccolo, I believe a better tank that could lane with him is someone like Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta or Super Saiyan Vegeta, or even Bardock. Cooler is a good partner for these characters, but I don't think their is best, or Cooler is their best one of their best lane partners. Actually, a common example would be Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. My friend Spider Zero Extreme, or Paul, he mains Broly, and while we do win a lot of games when we lay together as Cooler and Broly, I think utilizing my skills works better with other characters than when he uses his skill 2, skill 3, skill 2, skill 1, or his ultimate. I'm not saying that Cooler cannot win. I'm not saying that Cooler with a bunch of if you play Cooler with a bunch of randoms, these lane partners cannot work. It's just that I prefer the other characters to lane with Cooler because some other characters help Cooler utilize his skills better. Now, for the last tier, yes, lane with me. Let me explain. All of these characters, Super Vegito, Super Saiyan Goku, Super Oob, Gohan, 17, Topo, and Kefla, all these characters help Cooler excel at what he's good at right now. So what is Cooler good at? Cooler is good at sustain and secure as a tank. His lane clear is not that good. Is decent, but not great. His minion secure is also decent, he's not excelling at that. But paired with someone who excels at lane clearing, for example, Vegito, Oob, and Topo if Topo knows how to play the game, Cooler with them helps these DPS characters secure a lot of farms better than Broly, Bojack, Daimagoku, Super Saiyan Trunks, Gamma 1, God Goku, Super Saiyan 3 can do. Now, how about the two technical characters I put here? The two technicals I put here, Kid Gohan and Android 17, they really help Cooler with his sustain and secure playstyle, especially with 17, especially with his buffs. 17's barrier and his stun work so well with Cooler's Supernova that these two together, you could lane with these two early game, especially when you're playing with friends and just trying to play around, have some fun. Cooler and 17 are one of the best lane partners I've ever had, especially playing with friends or even sometimes with randoms. For example, you're all trying to push top tower, and then your DPS needs to go down to the other lane, to the bottom lane, to farm a little more. If you leave Cooler and 17 or even Kid Gohan at the top, you are not gonna have difficulties defending your tower or even attacking the enemy's tower. Now, Kid Gohan specifically, let me rephrase why he's here. Kid Gohan is here because with the Supernova buff for Cooler, the explode damage being amplified for Cooler, Kid Gohan's damage buff as well as his stun and his barrier and his ult all work well with Cooler's secure, especially during boss fight objectives boss. Kid Gohan can protect me from getting overwhelmed with his ult and skill 2 and skill 3 and even skill 1 from time to time, especially if skill 1 is at max level. Kid Gohan can help me secure bosses easier because, again, getting a triple boss in Gekishin Squadra is one of the most common way on how ranked games end, especially if they're one-sided. Now, this is only my opinion. If you guys have any other opinions or tell me where I'm wrong on certain characters, you can tell me down in the comments below. But other than that, thank you for watching. If you like the video, leave a like. Let me know what you think of the video down in the comments below. And if you're new here and like this content or just gaming content in general, consider subscribing. This is Skelehans, and I am out.